Help, my cider isn't carbonating. We have three main methods to carbonate. The first one is the free method, second one is the cheap method, and the third one is the pricier method. Number one is just to add more sugar inside your homebrew. How does this work, you may ask? This is because once you've made your alcohol, there's little residue of yeast at the bottom. And once you add sugar, the yeast eats this newly inserted sugar and not only produces more alcohol, but also CO2, which is a byproduct of the yeast eating the sugar. Therefore, the CO2 is what goes up all the way up to the jar and bubbles in the airlock. These bubbles are another form of fizz or carbonation. And this is that feeling you get when you drink Coke and it's just all tingly in your throat. Those are represented by CO2. Why is this the free method? Because I hope you have sugar left over in your pantry so you do not have to buy this sugar. If ever you've ran out, you can borrow some from a neighbor or get some in store, which should be roughly $3 for a whole pack. And in order to put fizz or carbonation into your homebrew, I would suggest adding roughly 1 cup of sugar. And do not worry, it does not make it sweet because the yeast is going to eat the sugar. It only adds sweetness to your homebrew if the yeast has had enough, it has eaten its capacity of sugar, and it's not able to create more alcohol. The downside with adding sugar is that after a day, your carbonation dies. Therefore, if you want to wait until the next day, you will have to add another cup of sugar. And a second downside is that this changes the flavor of your homebrew. This is why I would suggest going with another method of adding carbonation, which is a cheap method. Therefore, it's not free like the first one. However, it's still inexpensive. And what you need to do for this is to buy carbonation drops. And these carbonation drops are simply little pills of sugar, is what it is. And what you have to do is to use a container, drop these little sugar pellets in, and add your homebrew. Why any bottle? This is if you want to avoid buying those beer bottles and the cap with the equipment to close the cap, because that's another expense. So you can use plastic bottles that used to fill water, for example. You can use old jugs that used to fill juice. And weird anecdote is that when I try to carbonate my beer and my cider, the beer works. So I put it in a jug of juice and I'm able to carbonate my beer, but I'm not able to carbonate my cider. So this could be because of the containers. It's possible that the container where I added my cider has a little air going in the cap. I closed it tight, however, it's possible that little air can come out. Therefore, the solution for this is for me to transfer the cider into the beer container. How do you really know if your carbonation is working? Firstly, you have to wait 2 to 5 weeks for the carbonation to be done. And if the liquid starts off at a certain level and it carbonates, the liquid is gonna decrease by just a little bit. And if you wanna make sure that there's carbonation, you can open the bottle and you should hear a little psh, a little noise indicating that there is fizz coming out of the bottle. During these 2 to 5 week waiting period, it's good to shake the bottle for the sugar and the yeast to intertwine and for more carbonation to happen. However, one thing that I noticed is that it doesn't always carbonate when it's in plastic, and this is because plastic can lose up to 15% carbonation within 15 weeks. We're only talking about 2 to 5 weeks. However, the carbonation never feels as strong as, let's say, a Soda Stream or a regular beer bottle from the store. And side note, I've tried using the Soda Stream bottle and I put alcohol in it and then put the machine where it forces CO2 inside the bottle, and I do not recommend this. It did not work because as soon as I removed the bottle from the machine, the alcohol spilled everywhere and it was really not pleasant. This is only applicable to regular water inside the bottle. Going back to the plastic, one of the reasons why these bottles lose 15% carbonation is because the CO2 seeps through the plastic and it seeps through the bottle cap. It would be nice to verify the vapor permeability of these containers, and this is measured by the air or the amount of air that can escape these containers. Another option is to just add more carbonation drops. My method of measuring is 1 carbonation drop is good enough for 1 beer bottle. So I would measure how many beer bottles would fit inside the juice box or the juice plastic jug. If it's 5 beer bottles that would fit in, I would put 5 carbonation drops. Lately, I've been putting 8 carbonation drops in these big plastic bottles, and it's possible that I'm wasting carbonation drops because the plastic would expand. However, beer bottles are made out of glass and they do not expand. And therefore, plastic might need me to add more carbonation drops than I should. The third method of carbonation, and going for the pricier carbonation method. This is going for carbonation equipment. This includes forced carbonation machines. If I don't want to go for the machines yet, we can start with buying those empty beer bottles and those caps with the equipment to close the caps of the beer bottles, and to put one carbonation drop in, put the alcohol, and then close it, and see what the difference is between this carbonated beer and the beer or cider that's carbonated in a big plastic jug. Once again, when I talk about equipment, I do not mean using the soda stream. And if you have other ways to carbonate your beer or cider, drop a comment below. I'd be curious to know what people use out there. And if you'd like tips and tricks on the ingredients to put inside your homebrew, book a class. A link is in the description below. And if you found this video valuable, share with a friend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.